And then we will use Eau d'Acide number 7, Sacre Burn, to treat my sinister spores.
Wow.
I am now open to nothing new because
Oh, you already have?
Yeah, you already
those
have
are
both.
all the things that I already have.
That's
So
a good starting round. Good starting
that's
round.
a great starting combo.
Everybody go clap.
Go
Everybody
clap, go clap.
Good tidings and welcome to Board Game Barrister, our local game shop in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I'm Andy and I'm here with Jess, Theo, Glenn, and Gordon, and today we're talking Hex Effects, a game where we're all going to play as a incompetent apprentice alchemist who is trying to mix up alchemical solutions but accidentally hexes themselves with terrible curses in the process. Let's get into it. Welcome to Hex Effects, an amazing little card game where we're going to race to be the first alchemical assistant who can cure what ails us. To start the game, we're going to deal each player at the table 4 hexes, making sure that all 4 of those hexes are different from one another. So we get to start the game with Polymelia, an evil alter ego, the Piper's Plight, and Beetlepox. After that, we're going to shuffle all the rest of the cards in the box together and then deal each player 4 cards to be their starting hand. The player who most recently mixed 2 liquids together is going to be our first player, and a turn in this game is super simple. You'll start your turn by drawing 2 cards off the top of the deck, then you get to make 2 moves on your turn, and most moves just mean playing a card from your hand, but there are a couple alternative actions you can take, which we'll talk about in a second here. First, let's talk about the types of cards you'll find and how to play them. The first type of cards you might see in your hand are remedies. Remedies look like this, and they tell you right on them what hex they're able to cure. So my interdimensional honey here could cure my Beetlepox, and that would be one of my 2 moves would be to play this over the top of my Beetlepox so that everybody's aware I've already had Beetlepox. And now I've cured that hex. Now these remedies are a bit volatile though. Each time you cure one of your remedies, it does make you vulnerable to new types of hexes. So playing this remedy has made it so that I am now vulnerable to the Kiss of Narcissus, the Piper's Plight, and Polymelia. But you can see that we are already afflicted by Piper's Plight and Polymelia, which means this only opens us up to the Kiss of Narcissus hex. Speaking of hexes, that's the second type of card. For one of your moves, you can play a hex from your hand onto another player, but only if they're currently vulnerable to it from one of their remedies, and they don't already have it. And once again, if they have it in front of them and it's got a remedy on it, that counts as having had it in the past, so you can't duplicate that hex. The next type of card you're going to see are disasters. Disasters are going to let you trigger the punishment text on another player's hex. Each different type of hex has a different punishment, and when a player plays a disaster, they're going to choose one hex at the table in front of another player and activate that punishment text. This is often bad for the player who is being inflicted by that disaster. Sometimes it's good for the inflictor, the player playing the card, and sometimes it's both. You can only target 1 hex per disaster, and you can only target hexes that don't have a remedy on them. And there are 3 other special cards in the game, each of which is pretty rare to find. The first is Snake Oil. Snake Oil is a double-edged sword. You can use it to treat any hex in front of you like a wild card remedy, but once you've played it, if somebody plays a disaster against you on one of your other hexes, your Snake Oil gets discarded as a result of that disaster. Next up is the Deus Hex Machina. There's only 1 of these in the entire deck. This card will let you grab a hex from your hand and give it to another player, even if they're not vulnerable to it from one of their remedies. But it still can't be a repeat hex for them, so if they've already got it in front of them, you gotta choose a different one. And last is the Jinx. These are the one and only type of card you can play outside of your own turn. When somebody else plays a disaster against you, you can respond to that disaster by playing the Jinx. How that's gonna work is your inflictor will resolve their disaster as they would have, but immediately after they do that, you resolve the exact same type of disaster against them. Those are all the types of cards you're going to see in the deck as you play, and everything we just talked about, except for that Jinx card, costs 1 of your 2 moves to play. Now there's 2 additional types of moves you can take in the game, and they're called Alchemy. The first of them requires that I discard 3 different remedies from my hand. So if I had these 3 remedies available, I could discard them, and this allows me to steal a remedy somebody else has already played onto one of their hexes and put it into my hand instead. The second type of alchemy is going to use hexes. If I have 3 different hexes in my hand, I can discard those 3 hexes to draw 1 extra card off the top of the deck. And there you have it. Once you know all the different types of cards and all the moves you can make on your turn, you pretty much know how to play this game. At the end of each of your turns, if you have more than 6 cards in your hand, you have to discard down to 6 cards, and then it'll be the next player's turn to draw 2 cards, use up to 2 moves if they want to, and then discard down if they have to, and so on and so forth around the table. Now the game ends the moment any player at the table is able to cure their final hex. So if you want to win, you gotta find a good balance between curing your own hexes and keeping an eye on everybody else at the table to make sure they don't beat you to it. Alright, so this was our first time ever sitting down to Hex Effects. We had a great time with it. We played with 5 players today, and after playing, we kind of decided 5 is probably the most players we would ever play this game with. It technically goes all the way up to 8, but everybody's turn does take a little bit of time to think through, and it's not like simultaneous play in any way. You're not interacting with other people's turns unless they're like directly afflicting you with something. So most of what you're doing while other people are going is waiting for it to come back around to you and kind of laughing at all the theme and stuff, which is a nice part in this game. It's not boring, but it definitely, you can feel when you're waiting for your turn. So 5 had a little bit of that. 8 would be way too much of it. So I think I would play this game with 3 to 5 players usually. Maybe I'd say 3 to 4.
I just want to call out the detail they put into the cards. The art is fantastic. You've got your different diseases. You've got all the flavor text on both your hexes and your remedies, and the rule book is so beautifully designed as well. Just the art they put in this, it fits the theme so well. And we mentioned before, I think it was Gordon mentioned before, who doesn't love plague doctors? Plague doctors are awesome, and they look so good and they look so cool.
Yeah.
Well, and let me go more than that. It's not just the artwork, the language that they used, both the language on the cards, which Glenn touched on. They've got great fun names, they have great fun flavor text, and the rules are really well written and has fun flavor in the rule book as well. The backs of the cards are really attractive, the size of the cards is great. They put the printing both upside and downside, so when you are looking, part of the game is seeing what other people have, so they've written the text that is face up to the players across from you. Just really well done.
I'm open to everything.
You can have Polymelia?
Yeah,
There you are. Have some
hate
Polymelia.
really hate Polymelia.
Crave it.
There you are. And then I will cure my sinister spores with Eau d'Acide number 7. Eau d'Acide.
Sacre burn.
Sacre burn.
I also want to call it the disaster cards, which are great because all of the hexes that you have a bad thing that can happen to you. Now, when you're dealt your initial 4, nothing bad happens to you aside from the fact that you have these 4, but it means you're open to all the bad effects if someone plays a disaster on you. Some affect you badly, like you can't use remedies on your next round, or you discard all of your remedies. Some of them only help the person who played it, which lets the person go through the discard pile and pick out cards. But that is a great way that kind of changes the play, and it lets you have a little more effect on other players at times too, because I can take away your cards, I can discard your remedies, and that's a nifty thing that they have on it. So,
Well, it's this really neat balance of good things for you, bad things for the other player, but they're not all open to you at any point in time. You have to be looking to see what resources do you have available to you. If I've got this disaster card in my hand, what can I use it for? And is that going to be, a bad effect that I want or a good effect that I want?
I think my favorite one is Polymelia, because you can take 3 cards from your hand at random, or even Piper's Plate. Super light, super useful. Grab something from the discard pile. You want to give this to everyone at the table so that it's always open somewhere.
We're just gonna disaster make use of your Piper's Plate. No harm to user, just passing through for the snake oil.
Yep.
Thank you.
and I want to really call out the Jinx card. A thing that is a feel bad for me in a lot of games I play is especially in a game where it's mess with your neighbors, I play this card and you just say, nope, no you don't. So I've just wasted my entire, it's like there's my action wasted. It did nothing. This gives me a benefit because all right, you disastered me. That sucks. I can't cancel it, but I can throw it right back in your face, and now we're both hit with it. So you still get the effect. I got that thing. I'm getting hit a bit, but I get my benefit too. I didn't waste my action, and I like that they did that because canceling actions or losing turns is something I've always disliked in games.
I mean, I guess we've already harped on it a little bit, but the balance of the game I think is really good. I especially like how they balance the snake oil card.
Yeah.
It can cure anything, but if you get hit with a disaster, it just shatters and breaks and you lose it. The first game that we played, we were very willy-nilly with them and paid the price. And I think the second game, we were a little bit more hesitant. We're reserving it for our end turns.
Yeah, I mean, we played a practice game that took at least twice as long as the one that we filmed, and that's because we learned a lot of hard lessons in the first one about how to not win. So the second one, we were all doing a much better job keeping cards that were relevant to us, curing the diseases that made us most vulnerable to other people using disasters on us, things like this. And so our real game probably took 15 minutes, which means this is a 15 to 20 minute game for just about anyone. Like, you could play this with a family, probably ages 10 and up, something like that. Any group of adults is going to have a blast with it, and it's not going to be a big time suck. Probably after your first game and you've done the same. You're going to play all the stuff because you have it in your first game, and then you're going to learn what not to play because you want to save it for a potential win later on. So, all right, that does it for Hex Effects. Thank you so much for joining us for today's video. Hit that like button, leave a comment if you got one, subscribe to see our new videos every week when we post those, and check out our online store. We got a bunch of cool games as well as Hex Effects. For the time being, we'll see you next week. Thanks for joining us this time.